Hi, it's Ian. How's it going? I'm here today to talk to you about an under the radar record cutting engineer who cut the most recent European reissues of Elliott Smith's Figure 8 and Elliott Smith's XO. These are from 2017, but they've had a recent repress, and I just got them, and I'm really impressed with them. Quick warning, I happen to speak German, so I happen to know how to pronounce some of these names. I feel like it's kind of a lose-lose thing where, like, if you pronounce things correctly, you look like an annoying tryhard. If you pronounce things incorrectly, that also comes off wrong. So I'm going to pronounce them as I understand how to pronounce them. So it's this guy who who etches KR in the runouts, and he works at Optimal in Germany, and his name is Martin Krafft. And he's got just some really impressive cuts, and I've got a few of those, and I'd like to just talk about those real quick. So this guy got on my radar a couple of years ago, where I made this video where I talked about records I'd love to see get high quality reissues, that I was just sort of perplexed that, like, these seems like low-hanging fruit. Why aren't people doing better reissues of these? And Elliott Smith in general was on my list, and Elliott Smith, especially the first couple of records, are very lo-fi recordings. But these are, you know, he worked at Abbey Road and other high quality studios. Like I bet a much better version could come out, or that was my thinking at the time. And an intrepid viewer chimed in and said, "Hey, there's these 2017 European reissues that actually sound really good." And so I looked into it and saw that, okay, there's this Martin Krafft. And it's a little bit confusing when you try to figure that out on Discogs. They credit it to this KR, but then when you click through a few times, you can find that the person's name is Martin Krafft with 2 Fs. But like a lot of people at Optimal, like you know what they're etching, you know what their initials are or whatever, but you don't. I think several of them are sort of unknown, their actual identities. Anyway, so I looked to see what I have in my collection, and I did have something from him already. And this is this Throwing Muses Purgatory Paradise from Record Store Day from 2020, I believe. And this is really good sounding. This was something that really just kind of amazed me, and I just felt like I had no business sounding this good. This is almost certainly digitally recorded, and I think probably a fair amount of home recording. And I just thought it was really impressive. That felt like, and with a lot of these, that's what I sort of feel like, where it's like, this has no business sounding this good, but it does. And it's all cut by the same guy. This is the next thing I got from him, Tobin Sprout's Empty Horses. Well known as like a lo-fi recording artist. He's not recording on cassette 8-track anymore, but still, like, another record where I just felt like this has no business sounding this good. This is really great sounding record, and cut by Martin Krafft. And so that just got me really curious. And then, like, these had appeared to have been out of print for quite a while. They came back in print, but you can't get them here. You got to order them from abroad. I got them from Juno Records, and I think it's London, but in England in any case. They don't charge value-added tax for orders abroad, so that helps. It was still $70 to get these 2 records delivered, so not cheap, but also 2023 prices. That's actually, for a double album and a single album, fairly normal prices, unfortunately. One thing I'll tell you about these, though. Here's a couple of things that are imperfect about these. The cover art is just so disappointing. That probably doesn't come across well on this video, but just very low res visuals here. And you would just think in 2023 that would not be difficult to get appropriate resolution artwork across the pond. You know, so that's kind of annoying. It's 180 gram vinyl. I'm not to the point where I feel comfortable just complaining about that. I think 180 gram vinyl is just wasteful. Stop doing that. It makes everything heavier. You're using more resources. It makes for more seam splits. It's no benefit at all. And almost all my best sounding records are like 90 gram practically flexi discs, you know? Like, you don't need 100 gram vinyl. Not only do you not need it, it's worse than just not necessary. It's actively harmful. I wish they would stop doing this. It just makes things more expensive. It's a bell and whistle to raise the price. We need to start calling that out, I think, as a vinyl community. Does come with a polyline sleeve, thankfully, but it's these bigger ones though that don't fit in sideways. You know, these ones, they're like, you can kind of see the record in there. Can I hold this in a way where you can sort of see that? See that there's all this extra space up here, and so it won't fit in sideways into the sleeve. Not the end of the world, but you know, slight annoyance. But if you're gonna skimp on other things, but make the mastering as good as this, I can live with that. Having said all that, like it's legitimate things to complain about, but this is the best I've ever heard these albums. Did I mention that I had the originals and it's been forever since I've heard them? I sold them in 2005. Sorry, I'll try to edit this out if I'm saying this a second time. This is like you don't want to know how many takes I've done of this. Yeah, I had the originals, sold them in 2005, and they were very unimpressive. So I haven't heard them since 2005, and I had a worse system back then, so, you know, take that for what it's worth. All right, and so one other one I've got from Martin Krafft. This is 50 Foot Waves Black Pearl, the newest album from them. That's Kristen Hirsch's other band. Really recommend them. Really super, all of Kristen Hirsch's most rockin' stuff gets funneled into that. And it's just a heads up on this other one. This is listed as a Martin Krafft cut. In Discogs, it is not. At least the U.S. version is not. I suspect that there's a European version that perhaps is, but this is the 25th anniversary reissue from Matador. This is the U.S. version, at least. This is not cut by Martin Krafft. This sounds totally fine, totally acceptable. I can hear the heart beating as one. You know, I wouldn't like get rid of this, but I actually would be curious to hear the Martin Krafft version. So I don't know, maybe I'll throw that in with something else if I end up ordering from abroad again. So this one, not Martin Krafft, but these are great. I highly recommend them. Best versions of these great Elliott Smith records that I personally have heard. Okay, all right. Thanks a lot. Ciao.